In 2005, the United States Navy lost an aircraft carrier. Not in combat, not to a missile, not to a mine. In a training exercise, in the Pacific Ocean, surrounded by guided missile destroyers, nuclear attack submarines, helicopters, and the most sophisticated sonar systems ever built. A $6.2 billion Nimitz-class supercarrier, the USS Ronald Reagan, was sunk by a submarine that cost $100 million. A submarine that displaced 1,600 tons. A submarine crewed by fewer than 30 sailors. A Swedish submarine. The HSWMS Gotland slipped through the entire carrier strike group's defensive screen, evaded the destroyers, evaded the helicopters, evaded the nuclear attack submarines assigned to hunt enemy submarines, maneuvered into firing position, simulated a torpedo attack. Multiple hits, the Ronald Reagan was declared dead. And the Gotland wasn't detected, not during the approach, not during the attack, not during the escape. Naval analyst Norman Polmar said the Gotland ran rings around the American carrier task force. The US Navy was so alarmed that it leased the Gotland, brought it to San Diego, spent 2 years running exercises against it, 2 years trying to figure out how a $100 million diesel submarine could kill a $6 billion carrier. They never fully solved the problem, and now Sweden is building something that makes the Gotland look primitive. To understand why the A26 matters, you need to understand what the Gotland did and how it did it. Conventional submarines have a fundamental weakness. They run on diesel engines that need air to operate. To recharge their batteries, they have to surface, or at least raise a snorkel mast near the surface. That moment of exposure is when they're vulnerable. Sonar operators, radar, thermal imaging, magnetic anomaly detectors, every anti-submarine weapon in the arsenal is optimized to catch a submarine during that surfacing window. Sweden solved this problem in the 1990s. The Gotland class was the world's first operational submarine equipped with air-independent propulsion, AIP, specifically a Stirling engine. A Stirling engine, invented in 1816 by a Scottish minister, 200 years old, and it changed submarine warfare. The Stirling engine runs on liquid oxygen stored in cryogenic tanks. It burns diesel fuel in a closed-cycle combustion chamber, no atmospheric air required. The engine is so quiet that its acoustic signature is essentially indistinguishable from ocean background noise. A nuclear submarine, even the quietest ones, generates constant noise from coolant pumps and reactor machinery. The Gotland's Stirling engine generated almost nothing. The result? The Gotland could stay submerged for weeks without surfacing. No snorkel, no exposure window, no moment of vulnerability. For the US Navy's sonar operators, hunting the Gotland was like trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane. And the Gotland was built in 1996, 20 years old when it killed the Ronald Reagan. Imagine what Sweden could build with 30 more years of development. Saab calls the A26 Blekinge-class the world's first fifth-generation conventional submarine. That label is marketing, but the specifications behind it are real, and they're staggering. The program began in 2015 when Sweden's Defense Materiel Administration placed an order for 2 boats. Construction started at Saab's Kockums shipyard in Karlskrona, the same yard that built the Gotland. A keel-laying ceremony for the first boat, HSWMS Blekinge, was held in June 2022. The second boat, HSWMS Skåne, will follow. Delivery is targeted for 2031 and 2033. Total program cost, approximately $2.6 billion. $2.5 billion for 2 submarines. Compare that to a single Virginia-class nuclear attack submarine at $4.3 billion. Sweden is building a pair of advanced submarines for less than the cost of 1 American boat. Here's what that money buys. Length, 66 meters. Displacement, roughly 2,000 tons surfaced, 2,100 submerged. Crew, 26 sailors standard, with capacity for 35, including Special Forces operators. X-rudder configuration, 4 independently controlled surfaces that give the boat maneuverability in shallow and confined waters that conventional cruciform rudders can't match. The Stirling AIP system from the Gotland is carried over but evolved. The A26 can remain submerged for more than 18 consecutive days on AIP alone. 18 days, without surfacing, without snorkeling, without any exposure to detection. 18 days of silence. In the Baltic Sea, a body of water that Russia's northern fleet must transit to reach the Atlantic, 18 days of invisibility is an eternity. But stealth isn't just about the engine. The A26's hull is built from specialized steels and coated with materials designed to reduce target echo strength, the acoustic reflection that active sonar uses to find submarines. In the Baltic's shallow, acoustically complex waters, where temperature layers, salinity gradients, and soft seabeds create a nightmare for sonar operators, the A26's reduced signature makes it functionally invisible. Saab's own language is careful. They call it among the world's hardest to detect submarines. When the company that builds the thing hedges with among the hardest, you can assume the actual classified performance is considerably worse for anyone trying to find it. A submarine that can't be found is a problem. A submarine that can't be found and carries precision weapons is a crisis. The A26 will field two torpedo types: the heavyweight Torpedo 62, Sweden's primary anti-ship and anti-submarine weapon, and the new lightweight Torpedo 47, designed for anti-submarine engagements in shallow water. The combination gives the boat a balanced load for both surface kills and submarine duels. But Saab also confirmed that the A26 will carry missiles alongside its torpedoes and mines. The specific missile type hasn't been publicly confirmed, but the whole design includes provisions for cruise missile launch capability, meaning the A26 could potentially strike land targets hundreds of kilometers inland from a position that no one can find. A submarine that can sit silently in the Baltic for 18 days, then launch a cruise missile at a Russian naval base and disappear before anyone knows what happened? That's what the A26 is designed to do. And then there's the feature that has no equivalent on any other conventional submarine in the world: the multi-mission portal. This is a large hull-integrated opening, a horizontal launcher, that allows the deployment and retrieval of special forces operators, unmanned underwater vehicles, unmanned surface vehicles, and seabed warfare systems. It's positioned below the waterline and enables horizontal exit while the submarine remains submerged. This means the A26 can deploy combat divers, insert intelligence teams onto hostile coastlines, plant seabed sensors on undersea cable routes, recover objects from the ocean floor, and launch and recover autonomous drones, all without surfacing, all without being detected. In a Baltic Sea where Russian undersea cables, gas pipelines, and communication lines are strategic targets, and where NATO's undersea infrastructure is under constant Russian surveillance, the multi-mission portal transforms the A26 from a torpedo boat into a covert intelligence platform. Saab's combat management system, the 9LV, integrates all of this. Sensor fusion from Safran's non-penetrating optronic masts provides panoramic surveillance with simultaneous thermal imaging and laser range-finding. The submarine can conduct a quick-look check of the surface environment without raising a traditional periscope, eliminating another detection vector. Pull up a map. Look at the Baltic Sea. Now look at what's happened to it since 2022. Finland joined NATO in 2023, Sweden in 2024. Before those two accessions, the Baltic Sea had NATO members on its western and southern shores: Denmark, Germany, Poland, the Baltic states. But the northern half, the Gulf of Bothnia, the sea lanes approaching St. Petersburg, the transit routes to Kaliningrad, those were bordered by non-aligned nations. Not anymore. The Baltic Sea is now almost entirely surrounded by NATO. The only non-NATO coastline belongs to Russia, a narrow strip around St. Petersburg, and a sliver in Kaliningrad. A Swedish defense analyst described it after Sweden's accession. The Baltic is now a NATO lake. Russia's Baltic Fleet operates from St. Petersburg and Kaliningrad. To reach the Atlantic, Russian warships and submarines must transit the Baltic's narrow passages, the Danish Straits, which are less than 4 kilometers wide at their narrowest point. Every transit passes through waters that are now saturated with NATO surveillance and submarine patrols. This is where the A26 becomes Russia's worst nightmare. The Baltic Sea averages 55 meters in depth. Some areas are shallower than 20 meters. Nuclear submarines, which are large, deep-water optimized, and noisy by comparison, struggle in these conditions. They can't hide in the deep ocean. They can't outrun shallow water sonar. Their thermal signatures stand out against cold Baltic currents. The A26 was designed for this environment. Its X-rudder allows tight maneuvering in confined channels. Its reduced displacement means it can operate in waters too shallow for nuclear boats. Its Stirling AIP eliminates the acoustic signature that gives away conventional submarines. Its specialized hull coatings defeat the active sonar that NATO and Russian forces use in the Baltic. In the open Atlantic, a nuclear submarine has the advantage. It's faster, has unlimited endurance, and can dive deeper. But in the Baltic Sea, the A26 is the apex predator. Not because it's bigger, because it's quieter. In submarine warfare, quiet equals alive. Russia's anti-submarine capability in the Baltic relies on a combination of surface ships, helicopters, fixed sonar arrays, and their own submarines. The A26 is specifically designed to evade all of these. If the Gotland could kill a carrier strike group in the open Pacific, an environment that favors nuclear submarines, what can the A26 do in shallow, confined waters that favor exactly its capabilities? Russia's Baltic Fleet knows the answer. They just can't say it publicly. In November 2025, Poland announced it had selected the A26 Blekinge-class for its Orka submarine program. 3 boats, an estimated $2.7 billion investment, Poland's largest naval modernization program in decades. The decision beat competing offers from Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, France's Naval Group, Italy's Fincantieri, Spain's Navantia, and South Korea's Hanwha Ocean. 6 nations bid, Sweden won. Why did Poland, currently the highest spending defense nation in Europe as a percentage of GDP, choose a Swedish submarine over French, German, and Korean alternatives? Deputy Prime Minister and Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz gave the answer directly. It will build a new security architecture in the Baltic Sea. Poland's current submarine force consists of a single Soviet-era Kilo-class boat, 1 submarine, aging, outmatched, incapable of operating covertly against modern Russian anti-submarine warfare. 3 A26s change that calculus entirely. Combined with Sweden's 2 Blekinge-class boats, that puts 5 A26 submarines in the Baltic, all optimized for its shallow, acoustically complex waters, all functionally invisible, all armed with torpedoes and cruise missiles, all capable of deploying special forces and underwater drones through the multi-mission portal. Add Germany's submarines, add Norway's, add the Danish, Dutch, and Baltic state naval contributions. The Baltic Sea doesn't just become a NATO lake on the surface, it becomes a NATO hunting ground beneath the surface. For Russia's Baltic Fleet, the maths just became terminal. Here's the arithmetic that keeps Russian admirals awake. 1 Gotland-class submarine, 1996 technology, $100 million, killed a $6.2 billion aircraft carrier in a war game. And it did this repeatedly over 2 years. The A26 represents 30 years of advancement over the Gotland. Better Stirling engines, better hull coatings, better combat management systems, better weapons, better stealth. 2 A26s for Sweden, $2.6 billion. 3 A26s for Poland, approximately $2.7 billion. 5 boats total, roughly $5.3 billion. Russia's Baltic Fleet includes approximately 50 surface warships and 2 conventional submarines. The fleet's most valuable assets, the corvettes, frigates, and the sole remaining cruiser, collectively represent tens of billions of dollars in Russian naval investment. 5 A26 submarines, costing a combined $5.3 billion, are designed to hold at risk Russia's entire Baltic fleet. The cost-exchange ratio from the 2005 wargame was already devastating. $100 million submarine versus $6.2 billion carrier. The A26 extends that asymmetry across the entire Baltic theater, and Russia cannot match it. Moscow doesn't have a comparable AIP submarine. Russia's conventional submarine fleet, the Kilo-class and improved Kilo-class, runs on traditional diesel-electric propulsion. They must snorkel, they expose themselves. In the Baltic's shallow waters, they're louder, less maneuverable, and easier to detect than the A26. Russia can't outrun the A26, can't outhide it, can't outshoot it in confined waters, and can't build a counter in any relevant time frame. Sweden spent 2 centuries as a neutral country. It watched the Cold War from the sidelines. It built submarines to defend its own coastline, nothing more. The Gotland wasn't designed to project power. It was designed to disappear. But disappearing turned out to be the most powerful thing a submarine could do. In 2005, disappearing killed a supercarrier. In 2024, Sweden joined NATO. In 2025, Poland chose Swedish submarines over every competitor in Europe and Asia. In 2031, the first A26 will enter the Baltic Sea, a body of water that Russia can no longer control, can barely transit, and cannot defend against what's coming beneath its surface. The A26 doesn't carry nuclear warheads, it doesn't have unlimited range, it can't circle the globe. It's not designed to. It's designed to sit silently in 50 meters of cold Baltic water, undetectable, for 18 days, armed with torpedoes and cruise missiles, with a portal that can deploy divers and drones onto the seabed, and wait. Wait for a Russian convoy. Wait for a Russian submarine. Wait for an order. The most dangerous weapon isn't the one that's loud, it's the one you never know is there. Sweden built a submarine that killed a supercarrier without being detected. Then it spent 30 years making the next one quieter. Russia's Baltic Fleet has a problem. Not a loud, dramatic, exploding problem. A silent one, sitting beneath the surface, invisible, patient. And there's no counter, no fix, no solution. Just silence, and whatever's hiding in it. 5 A26 submarines in the Baltic, 2 Swedish, 3 Polish, armed with torpedoes, cruise missiles, and the ability to deploy special forces and autonomous drones from underwater without surfacing. Operating in the one environment on Earth where conventional submarines are more dangerous than nuclear ones. The Gotland proved the concept with a $100 million submarine and a dead aircraft carrier. The A26 industrializes that concept for the age of NATO expansion and Baltic dominance. Sweden was neutral for 200 years. Its submarines were a quiet secret. Now, that secret belongs to NATO. And Russia is learning what it feels like to be on the other side of silence. What do you think? Could 5 A26 submarines actually lock down the entire Baltic? Or does Russia have an answer? Comments. Now, subscribe, because the next video breaks down every submarine in NATO's new Baltic Fleet.